Hi and welcome to Thought for the Week from Chabad in Wimbledon. This week's thought is centered around the Parsha HaShavua. The Parsha of this week is the Parsha of Bamidbar, and it opens the fourth book of the Torah, the book of Numbers. The Sedra starts, God spoke to Moshe in the Sinai desert. And it's fascinating that we always read this particular Parsha just before the festival of Shavuot, when we celebrate the giving of the Torah. We know that 49 days after the Jews left Egypt, they stood at Mount Sinai, and at the foot of Mount Sinai, they heard the Ten Commandments directly from God. And that's what we do when we celebrate the festival of Shavuot. We read the particular portion in the Torah which describes the giving of the Torah. But you can ask a question. Why was the Torah given specifically in a desert? After all, a desert is a place of desolation. There are snakes and scorpions in a desert, extremes of climate. Why specifically in the Sinai desert was the Torah given to the Jewish people? The Sedra of Bamidbar goes on to tell us about how the Jews erected the tabernacle in the desert and moved, in fact, 42 times during the 40-year stay in the desert. What is the connection between the erecting of the tabernacle in the desert and the fact that Torah was given in a desert? The connection is simple. There are many Jewish communities in the world that, although maybe geographically and physically in wonderful exotic locations with good climate, good weather, in fact beautiful surroundings, but in a spiritual sense, they are a desolate wasteland. There's a lack of Jewish educational establishments. Some places you can't even find a minyan. There's no kashrut. And a Jew who happens either to live there or sometimes just to pass through there can think to themselves, wow, this is distant, this is far, this is a desert. How am I going to keep my Judaism here? How am I going to make this place a dwelling place for God? And that is specifically why Torah was given in a desert, and the tabernacle was set up in that very same desert. The Torah is giving every single Jew the energy, the impetus, the koyach to be able to build a home for God, even in the most desolate wasteland, with extremes of spiritual temperature and spiritual snakes and scorpions. Tremendous challenges which sometimes put a block on a Jew's observance, but that block is surmountable. The Jew has to know that if I accept the Torah and listen to God's voice in this desert, I can erect a tabernacle, a home for God in any location. How do I do that? Well, when I learn Torah, I have to learn it as if I'm in a desert. Just like in a desert there's no other distractions, there's just the Torah. So too when a person learns Torah, they have to be immersed in it, and they have to imbue it and imbibe it and let it permeate their very essence, so that when it goes through to the core and it touches their essence, then they can survive even in a desert. In Chabad, we wish each other a very special blessing for the festival of Shavuot. We say, Kabbalas HaTorah, the Torah should be accepted besimcha ubipnimius, with joy and inner dimension. Joy, or simcha, is a bulldozer that can break through any barriers. Pnimius, the internal dimension, is necessary because if we only keep Torah externally, then it doesn't endure. It must seep through to our very core. And consequently, as we go to celebrate the festival of Shavuot this year, we should think to ourselves that in the original occasion of the giving of the Torah, Torah was given in a desert. It's empowered us that in any place we may be, we can build a home for the Almighty. We can build a shul. We can build a mikveh. We can build a Talmud Torah, a Hebrew school, because education starts with the children. And this is especially important for women, Jewish women, to know, because the Torah was first given to the women and then to the men in the desert, because it's Jewish women who are the akeres habayis, the mainstay of the Jewish home, that can fashion the home environment and make it conducive to Torah. How do we do that in the simple sense? We light the Shabbos candles and the Yom Tov candles. We bring a spirit of holiness into the home. We say Torah over at the meals. We have a house full of books. We educate the children even from a very early age. We keep kosher, even in a difficult environment. We keep the laws of family purity. We put tefillin on. We have a mezuzah on the door. These are the ways of bringing heaven to earth, even if that place on earth is a spiritual wasteland. We can make it flourish. Shabbat Shalom.